Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Friend Shot Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday, October 3rd of 2024. I want you to read between the lines because I want you to understand what I have to talk about this morning. Again, read between the lines because I want you to understand what I got to talk about this morning. Okay? Now that you got that under your belt, check this out.
So you heard they have taken the FEMA emergency food and shelter program and over time siphoned off hundreds of millions of dollars into basically making it an illegal immigrant resettlement program. And so when you see these states and cities around the nation declaring emergencies, even blue states, because of what this administration has done, encouraging more and more and more, developing programs to encourage more and more and more people to come here, the government, Biden and Harris, are having to fund that on the backs of the American people. And now, right now, in Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, all of these states are hurting because of this truly natural disaster, not a Biden-Harris made disaster. They're saying we need more money. And of course they need more money because they've been laundering it from the true intended purpose of this fund that Congress set forth. Laws be damned.
Laws be damned. Laws be damned. Mayorkas. This is what Mayorkas just said. Okay? We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another one of these to hit. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's a joke, people. And to me, it's done on purpose. I don't care what nobody say. We've been managing budgets forever in this country. We already know what's popping off during every season. There's a plan, there's a backup plan, you're proactive. If you got to call in National Guard, you've been watching the things since you've been an adult. You know, sometimes the Red Cross is involved. You know your budget ahead of time and you target the problem. You also target possible looters, of which you're hearing now that allegedly illegals are going in after these disasters and ravaging people's homes. And now you got these people in these positions. This administration just making it's embarrassing. And what kind of message does this send to our adversaries or to our allies? Think back all the way up to Afghanistan and $1 trillion worth of equipment left over there. Then after that, what do you got? You got servicemen and women who died. They boggled that. And now we have, 3 years later after that fiasco, you're sending a message to our allies and our enemies. We're vulnerable. We can't even take care of the homeland. American citizens, wrap your mind around that. We can't even figure out how to take care of our citizens. It's one thing to have the homeless out in the street. Inflation kicking us in the behind. And now you got something that you know that you've been dealing with for decades in terms of disasters. And you can't even budget accordingly. And don't tell me you didn't know when you factor in the migrant crisis that this thing was going to be bloated. They knew. They had to know. They had to know. Listen to this thing again. This is infuriating. And I got to be careful because something happened before, so I'm being careful, as you guys can tell. But listen to this Attorney General. This is Attorney General Ashley Moody from Florida. She works hand in hand with the governor there. And, you know, this guy has run for president. And here, let me show him to you. Governor of Florida.
According to Wikipedia, Ron
DeSantis. I might not agree with everything he does, but he knows how to run a state.
46th governor of Florida. A member of the Republican Party, he served as the U.S. representative from Florida's 6th.
He knows how to get things done. Former presidential candidate. And to me, he should have been at least the VP choice. Put in the comment section if you think. This guy is working hand in hand with Attorney General Ashley Moody. They know how to plan, project, target the money, prioritize the money, and make sure crime is not out of hand.
They have taken the FEMA emergency food and shelter program and over time siphoned off hundreds of millions of dollars into basically making it an illegal immigrant resettlement program. And so when you see these states and cities around the nation declaring emergencies, even blue states, because of what this administration has done, encouraging more and more and more, developing programs to encourage more and more and more people to come here, the government, Biden and Harris, are having to fund that on the backs of the American people. And now, right now, when Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, all of these states are hurting because of this truly natural
mismanagement. Let's just call it like it is. It's mismanagement. It's not like we just started the programs, people. It's mismanagement. Now look at this from a month ago. This was announced. And there's your colors again. There's your colors. See how they mixed up? Oh yeah, allegedly. Listen.
State and local governments can't borrow or print money like the federal government.
This is Representative Jody Arlington. 4 months ago, he had this meeting. I had to go deep and get some history on what Congress was talking about. So check it out. I didn't have the volume high enough. Check it out.
State and local governments can't borrow or print money like the federal government. And so they're having to balance their budgets by either absorbing this cost through raising taxes, or they're having to cut services to their citizens.
Lubbock Congressman Jody Arrington's House Budget Committee is trying to determine how much the southern border crisis is costing the United States.
What dollar amount do you assign to the loss of safety and security? I'm not certain, but I do know the cost is very high.
A county attorney in the Rio Grande Valley told the committee the government has given up control of the border in South Texas to Mexican cartels. He says in his county, criminal charges jumped from 134 in 2020 to 6,800 in 2022. A veteran and Border Patrol agent says other countries like China are using the border for drug warfare.
The Mexican cartels have...
Crazy. It's off the chain, people. And again, what kind of message does this send? It sends vulnerability. I don't care what nobody says. Maracas warns FEMA doesn't have enough funding to last through this season. Isn't that something? It just came out. Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas says the agency tasked with helping communities recover from this situation, this here, and other natural disasters, does not have enough money to make it through the hurricanes. Now I'm gonna get into what Trump said and what an illegal has to say. So you stay tuned. This thing is pretty deep. This thing is deep. The Federal Emergency Management Agency can meet immediate needs, but does not have enough funding to make it through this season. Isn't that something? Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told reporters Wednesday the agency is being stretched as it works with states to assess damage from this situation, right? From this situation. Now check this out. Again, didn't know it was coming. To what degree? Look, when you run the budget, you plan for the worst. If you got money left over, that's a beautiful thing. Where was the planning? Where was the planning? Why would you, why is it legit in Congress to rob Peter to pay Paul? Why do you go into an emergency fund to take care of illegals? I'm so tired of this wokeness, it's ridiculous. Y'all not woke, y'all comatose. It's ridiculous. Mayorkas was not specific about how much additional money the agency may need, but his remarks on Air Force One, he on Air Force One, underscored concerns voiced by President Joe Biden and some lawmakers earlier this week that Congress may need to pass a supplemental spending bill this fall to help states with recovery efforts. We are meeting, quote, we are meeting immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting people, this is sad. When our enemies look and see that we can't even budget, can we budget a war? Realistically, all the things that's going on overseas, Middle East, can we even budget a war? We just invaded a certain part of this area, but we're running out of ammo. Can you put an order in? We just the tank just broke down, but we need to get somebody to work on these gears. You don't have enough money for the labor? Okay, so I guess we'll ride horses and donkeys into this area. Is that where the Army's going, people? FEMA, a month ago, a local town where people went there, get this, people went there to follow up after the disaster. Not only did they not hear about if they could get some immediate help after they were there multiple times, but they also found out that the FEMA office was closing down. Lack of funds.
Now, for the second year in a row, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, says that its disaster fund has run out of money. The agency's administrator says FEMA will only give money for immediate needs right now. It's waiting for Congress to pass a $9 billion supplemental request for its disaster fund. But through August, Congress is in recess. Right now, many Houstonians are still waiting on their recovery checks more than a month after Hurricane Beryl. Meteorologist Brittany Begley introduced us to the Sanchez family from New Caney, who had a massive tree fall on their home. A month later, here we are. That tree is still there. But after Brittany's report aired yesterday on Tuesday morning, FEMA did reach out to the Sanchez family, promising to expedite their request. Reporter Bill Barajas introduced us to Carrie Stowell in Spring Branch. She went to a FEMA disaster recovery center and was approved for emergency assistance. 3 weeks later, she is still waiting on that money.
And this lady here, she didn't hear what she needed to hear, and she was told that the office she just went to, is about to close. Now I need to go back here. When Mayorkas made this talk about not having enough money to get through the season, this budget thing is very questionable. They spent $1 billion, right? They spent over $1 billion on FEMA program, right? For migrants. Wrap your mind around that. $1 billion was spent on migrants. Now, I'm gonna show you his face because I'm gonna give you my spiel right quick. Then I'm gonna show you a Trump video, what he's about to do. People, this is exactly how you bring in the one world system. I'm gonna say it again. This is exactly how you bring in the one world system. Suspiciously, right after the United Nations met about the problems of the world, you announce how you're, in essence, broke. Isn't that funny? We just finished having a world meeting with the United Nations. Now all of a sudden, oh, we're broke. How do you even qualify to be a part of an organization, a world organization? And you can't take care of your house. We look stupid, people. We look vulnerable. We look inept. If you're a manager and you ran your business like this, you'd be fired tomorrow. Why isn't he fired? And why are people even voting for this administration? Because you guys love symbolism. Oh, build me a Dr. King Boulevard, a Frederick Douglass Center. Make you feel good. All the symbolism. Oh, let me put a female in a position. Oh, Biden, he's the best thing since cupcakes. Let me do everything that America hasn't been doing for other minorities, and let me put them in my thing. And I'm not hating on anybody because I'm considered a minority. But you got to see through the game. Oh, he put a woman on the Supreme Court. That's for votes. That's for future. You think he really cares about a woman? If he did, he would do the things necessary to bring down the cost of living so she can even feed her children. So let me get this straight. You can appoint females to different positions throughout your whole administration, Biden and Harris. But inflation is running amok. And in times of crisis, you don't have any money to take care of family, where arguably in all of our major states, 50% of the families are led by females, one person household. And she can't even feed her kids. You can't feed your kids as a female, but you putting all this symbolism out here for females to be in position. Make that make sense. I'm done with this foolishness, man. Come on, y'all. So now you're saying you broke. You can't function properly because of the lack of funds. This administration, depending on whom you talk to, has brought in between 10 million to 50 million migrants. Remember, in one of my live videos less than a month ago, I told you guys that you cannot depend on this government in terms of disaster, because historically, you know what they do. Okay, the response is inept. The hidden intent to me is to bloat the budget nationally and federally. You hear me? Bloat the budget. And like this gentleman said, what did he say? What did he say? You gotta now get money from two sources. Either you raise taxes on the middle class or just the homeowner, or you cut back services. This is how we're running the government? Come on, man. Sending folks to the moon, to Mars, and Pluto. If I could tell you the dumb stuff I've been finding that Biden spends money on and Congress, it would blow your mind. It would blow your mind. The goal is to make us so vulnerable that it's easy for our representatives to say, you know what? We need the one world system because we can't handle all these problems. That's the goal, people. That's what they're doing. It's deliberate, as far as I'm concerned. Now check this out. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, budget. But here's some information about FEMA's budget. 2023, the physical budget was $29.5 billion. 2024, the U.S. Congress allocated nearly $20 billion in funding. Okay? The annual budget, annually, is $116 billion. $116 billion. Okay?
And those who took the proper steps to become citizens. I'm Venezuelan, born in Venezuela. I see my country crash. You're immigrant from Venezuela? Yeah. How do you feel about the immigrants coming in? They need to go. They are that generation that were raised with rats and rodents. There's bad apples everywhere, no matter what country you're from, but we got some really bad ones. I used to be a Democrat. This is the year that I flipped. What made you flip? The facts. I used to vote for feelings. They want to give rights to immigrants that just crossed the border, way more rights than us citizens here now. And those who took the proper steps to become citizens. I'm Venezuelan.
Now here's a guy who's Venezuelan. And some of you all might not agree with it, but think about the context what he's saying. He did everything right when he came over here. He did everything right. And now all of a sudden you see people being assisted by this government to do what? To skirt the law. And they come over here and they're getting taken care of from the rooter to the tutor. But this guy does everything right. And this guy is Venezuelan saying, look, these aren't the best of people. If somebody who's from the land knows, and we're supposed to have the best of the best in terms of CIA, how in the world would they not know? Isn't that a valid question? How would they not know? They gotta know. You're putting your country in a vulnerable, at a risk state. So again, how are our allies and how are our enemies looking at us? I would say vulnerable. Vulnerable big time. So listen to this again.
Now, and those who took the proper steps to become citizens. I'm Venezuelan, born in Venezuela. I see my country crash. You're an immigrant from Venezuela? Yeah. How do you feel about the immigrants coming in? They need to go. They are that generation that were raised with rats and rodents. There's bad apples everywhere, no matter what country you're from, but we got some really bad ones. I used to be a Democrat. This is the year that I flipped. What made you flip? The facts. I used to vote for feelings. They want to give rights to immigrants that just crossed the border, way more rights than us citizens here now. And those who took the proper steps to become citizens. I'm Venezuelan.
That's tripped out. Now watch. I want you to listen to Trump, what he said yesterday. This came out on X last night. I got this around 3 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. Trump is going to Springfield, Ohio. And he says he wants to revoke their protective services status. He wants to overturn the protective status in Springfield, Ohio. Look, I want you to wrap your, I'm gonna say it again, because I want you to hear it. He wants to revoke, that's the word, he wants to revoke the protective status of the immigrants, the migrants in Springfield, Ohio. Check it out.
Springfield is such a beautiful place. Have you seen what's happened to it? It's been overrun. You can't do that to people. They have to be removed.
So you would revoke the temporary protected status?
Absolutely. I'd revoke it and I'd bring them back to their country.
This just
Springfield
came out.
is such a beautiful place.
This
Have you
just
seen what's
came
happened
out.
to it? It's been overrun. You can't do that to people.
October 2nd.
Now, and those who
Isn't that deep, people? This man, in a stunning announcement, Donald Trump just announced that he will revoke the protective status of Haitian migrants in Ohio legally. It's coming, baby. We might have civil you-know-what up in this place. Baby, the powers are planning. They plan the checkerboard. They've made this migrant issue the issue that would tear up the shreds of this country. Tear up the flag. That's what they're doing. They're psychologically tearing up the flag that is tearing us up. And now you got problem, reaction, solution all day. Listen again.
Springfield is such a beautiful place. Have you seen what's happened to it? It's been overrun. You can't do that to people. They have to be removed.
So you would revoke the temporary protected status?
Absolutely. I'd revoke it and I'd bring them back to their country.
This just
Springfield
came out.
is such a beautiful place.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the day after the election? All of a sudden you got marshals and sheriffs and maybe deputized Americans who are fed up going into these migration camps, herding these people off on buses, taking them back to the airport and sending them back to their country? Can you imagine a roundup? Can you spell roundup? People, I'm not trying to be an extremist. I'm listening to this man. I've been telling you guys, this is what's going to unalive him. It's set up on so many levels. The funding issue brings us into a crisis, pushes us into the NWO. You got the Biden-Harris administration. As far as I'm concerned, they were blessed to destroy. That's exactly what they're doing. And now Trump is coming in on his white pony to save the day. You don't think there's not going to be any resistance? You don't think the migrants are hearing what Trump is saying? I know he got a strategy, but hey, say it once and be done, because if I'm a migrant, I'm planning like, hey, you ain't taking me back. I just had a baby. You ain't taking me back. I just got used to America. You ain't taking me back. Think about what I'm saying, people. There's not going to be this cooperation. If we're boggling budgets and messing up in Afghanistan by leaving $1 trillion worth of arms over there, can Trump count on government to send these people back with minimal resistance? I don't know. This is our first time at the rodeo. This happened, I did a video about a month ago. Other presidents have done it, but not at this mass. Not with these type of issues going on. This is a problem all day. She's smiling like everything's okay, like she got under control. But their crazy policies have led us to this, where this man says this.
Springfield is such a beautiful place. Have you seen what's happened to it? It's been overrun. You can't do that to people. They have to be removed.
So you would revoke the temporary protected status?
Absolutely, I'd revoke it and I'd bring them back to their country. This just...
If he look, he already said when the planes are in flight, November 5th, as they're en route, if he wins that night, the presidency, he gonna start sending the planes back. I don't doubt that he's gonna start coming into these sanctuary cities, of which my city is one of them, and start the roundup program before he's sworn in. Expect the chaos. Expect it. That's what I'm expecting. My name is Fran Shapiro. If you like the video, please subscribe, thumbs up. Remember, you got to check out my videos. I do at least 3 a day. Make sure you subscribe. God bless you. Remember, this is part of Bible prophecy. Yes, it is. The last days. Satan's creating chaos, not only in America, but around the world. And to utilize issues like migration to do it. We have no business in a budgetary crisis in the middle of this season right now with what we're going through. You know, we have issues throughout the year during this season. Everybody knows it. They've been planning accordingly for decades. Why now we having problems? I submit to you, it's in concert. We're going into this one world system. Looking vulnerable. Thank you, Joe Biden. And thank you, Kamala Harris. We will always look to you as we might be sitting up in concentration camps in the future. Thank you very much.